Pick up eggs and milk after work. Clear Beethoven for release. Return Jameer's call once he's out of surgery. As I ran through my to-do list for the day, the overture for Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro alerted me that I was over the halfway mark of my morning run. Unless I listened to an audiobook, I love to listen to classical music during my workouts. When I was in college, I found that listening to classical music when I worked out helped me to zone out and disassociate from the task at hand. Now that I was well into my 30s, I found the need to disconnect from the aches, pains, and burning lungs that came with running becoming even more prominent. Gust of wind hit my damp face, making the crisp morning air feel a few degrees cooler. The faint aroma of the dewy grass felt cleansing as I took it in deep passes. I loved the morning air. I loved seeing the proof of God's existence when observing the morning sky even more. The beauty of nature was yet another reason to get up early and get my run in while everything was quiet and still. It was just after 7 in the morning. I found it easier to get my daily run out of the way in the morning rather than waiting until the tolls of a full day to give me an excuse to change my mind. As I neared the exit of the park, I noticed that my shoes were untied. There were a set of benches near the exit, so I made my way over to them to tie my shoes before I busted my ass on the concrete trail. Once my laces were secured, I glanced at my watch. I was only about 3 minutes shy of the goal I'd set for myself when I realized how out of shape I had gotten from a few years' hiatus from my favorite form of exercise. Before I could take off for the exit, my steps were halted by the sight of the biggest, most beautiful dogs I'd ever had the pleasure of seeing up close. 2 English Mastiffs stood guard like loyal soldiers while their owner stretched. His head was toward the ground, but they were on guard just in case something went awry. With them keeping watch, I was almost afraid to approach him. Not that I was afraid of dogs, but because I knew just by looking at them that the dogs had been trained to protect their owner. I moved hesitantly down the trail. I decided it would be best to get his attention before approaching them. "Those are beautiful animals. What are their names?" I asked, keeping my attention on the dogs. "Thank you. This is Cassius and his brother Clay." I was looking at the dogs, but something in his voice tugged at me to push for more conversation. The gruff and silky tone was like soulful music, nothing like what I was listening to at a low volume through my headphones. He was rugged and just a hair off cadence. He was jazz or maybe even the blues. "Do you mind if I touch them?" I asked, finally looking up at their owner. Giving him my attention was a huge mistake. The man was perfection in every sense of the word. My hand paused in midair as I took him in all his glory. With my eyes on him, I was frozen. My objective for walking over and starting a conversation was absolutely innocent in nature.